How's it going? I hope the audio
Camera, but I'm going to be swapping in between the phone camera and the Meta glasses as I work through this. But welcome. Today we're going to be taking off the oil pan and get the rods and pistons out, check the health of those, and then we might do a little bit more while we're in here if that doesn't take me too long. So let's get right to it. Now that we got all those bolts off, let's get the oil pan off.
a little bit of gunk in there. Looks like the seal probably did fail right here, so this was definitely one of my oil leaks. Let's get this baffle off and then probably take off this pickup tube, get some of this debris out of here, and let's get off these rods and pistons. Got the oil baffle off, and now I will say this is my first time taking apart an engine, but with the research I've done, the underside of those pistons don't look too bad at all. I mean, this one, it's a little bit worse, but we're gonna have to take them off to really take a look at them. And with the tiny bit of the cylinder wall, I can see it does look pretty clean, so that does make me a bit happy. Now, it's a little bit nasty down here, but as far as I know, nobody's ever gone this far into the motor, this one, in 220,000 miles, other than maybe switching this or cleaning this up, which I think we did that. So, we'll get those rods out. Rod one out. Rod number 2. Phone battery died, but I got the third piston out, and when I did, it also splashed in the coolant and power steering mix. So, yeah. And don't ask me why that's a mix. I wasn't thinking when I was draining the fluids and decided to mix them together. So, let's get this rod out. And rod number 4 out. Okay, so now that we got all the pistons out, let's work on getting this crank off. The pulley was being a little bit of an issue, so I skipped by that. I just gotta get this cover off, get this cover off, and I'm probably gonna take off the timing stuff while I'm at it, and then we'll pull the crank out, and then we're gonna wrap it up so it doesn't rust or anything, so while we work on getting the rest of the motor prepared. Got that off, and let's get this off. And we got that off. Now let's get this pulley off. We'll get this off, and then we'll get this entire cover off. Now let's get this tensioner off. And we got this one off. Now we'll move to the cover. Now let's get this cover off. And that's this off. So it looks like I could probably sneak this off while just doing that, but I'll probably take off this tensioner, put this chain with that pump, and then we'll get these main journals off and get this crankshaft out. Got the main caps off, and now we're going to work on getting the crank out. We're going to wrap this up so it doesn't rust or anything while we prepare the rest of the block and everything else to get ready. So let's do that. Now at this point, if you're doing this yourself, you want to make sure you know which main cap you took off and where it goes. Because if you're reusing these and you put these in the wrong spot, there are a good chance it's going to blow up your engine, basically. A lot of things could happen. So just make sure you label them in each individual one and where they go. I plan on putting them in plastic bags. This is the easiest way, I think. So make sure you do that if you're ever going to take off your crank or anything in your engine, really. Now that all the caps are off, we can get the crank out. We
do have a long while until the build is going to be fully done, so we want to wrap up the crank so all the journals don't rust or anything. Be careful in this process because even with gloves on, I did slip my finger clean open because of how sharp the machining is. So if you are doing this, it is best to have somebody else help you like I did here. And yeah. Now that you got a new baby wrapped up, find the softest place nearby to place it, and you got that all wrapped up and done.
Now we got the crank all wrapped up, we're going to move to measuring the cylinder bore. That's pretty easy. There's a couple ways you could do it. I have this tool right here. So what you'll do is you grab this tool. This is just an example. Say you'll do this. Squeeze those together, tighten this end right here. Get it in the cylinder bore. You loosen that. And then you'll get it even. You'll want to get these two as even as possible in the cylinder. Get this even. And then you'll tighten this right here. And you'll try to sneak this out of the bore. And then you'll get a caliper like this. Turn that on. Make sure it's all zeroed out. And then you'll use this to measure whatever this is. And then you got to do that for each cylinder. You got to do it a whole bunch of different measurements. You can look it up online and get yourself one of these papers yourself so you can measure it out of round and all that. But that's what I'm going to be doing next. So I hope you guys enjoyed and stay tuned for the next video.